shit. There we go. Hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going? It never fails. Yeah, it never fails. I just had this all set up, man. I don't know what happened. Anyway, the day after the some of the worst PlayStation news you could get. One of the beloved studios shut down. Lambasted them last night on the podcast. Well, Xbox says, "Hey, don't worry, PlayStation, we got you. We like to make sure that your negative news doesn't carry too long because we got some bombshells to drop of our own." And here it is. We all knew that this day was going to come at some point. We all knew that one day there would be an Xbox where Phil Spencer would not be involved. He would say, "It's my time to ride off into the sunset," and we'd be asking questions of what now. But we didn't expect it to happen exactly like this. We all thought we knew what the succession plan was. We all thought we knew what was going to happen. So obviously, Sarah Bond was going to take over. Obviously, Sarah Bond was going to be the next CEO of Microsoft Gaming and all that kind of stuff after she had already been promoted to head of Xbox. It was just the next line of succession. Surely all of the work that she's been doing hand in hand with Phil over the years has earned her that spot. Well, turns out no, that did not happen. In fact, somebody we've never heard of in the gaming world, at least I haven't, is appointed to be the new person in charge, the new CEO of Xbox, and um, a lot to unpack. I mean, a lot of things to look at, a lot of things to try and understand, a lot of things to decipher. A lot of words were spoken from a lot of people. So we're gonna try and sift through all that craziness. I do want to say this first, though. I do believe there is a lot right now with obvious huge bombshell news like this. Usually, what happens is you have a lot of jumping to conclusions from a lot of people because, yeah, like you read Phil Spencer retires, Sarah Bond resigns. Immediately, gut reaction is, oh, this is it. The ball has dropped, the hammer has fallen, and Xbox is being torn apart. That's just the gut reaction initially when seeing those two things right next to each other. And then that taking time, you read more things, you see all the comments, you trying to look at things and step back and like, okay, what's happening, what's going on, what's actually happening, what's going on. And there's a lot of uncertainty, I'll be honest. A lot of uncertainty right now. A lot of things we do not know. A lot of words were said, and we just got to wonder, are those words true or are they just corpo speak? It's been a lot of Microsoft and Xbox corpo speak the last generation that has turned out not to be accurate, and a lot of things have changed this generation. So who knows what to expect? Who knows, what words mean right now? But we can look at it and try and figure out what they do mean, at least what we can hope they mean, and what does that mean for Xbox gamers. And I'll just add this to it, not just Xbox gamers, but gamers of all platforms now, because Xbox is definitely a brand that crosses multiple platforms at this point. And what is it going to mean for the games and all these kind of things? A lot, a lot to unpack. But I appreciate the chat. Appreciate you guys being here on such a crazy day. It's a Friday. Just had a podcast last night. And did not see this coming. Did not see this coming at all. So here we are on a MAVCast. Second one I've done here recently. So at least it's fun to be doing MAVCast again. Well, all right, let's see here. Let's get to the chat real quick. Mac22TH54 with a very generous $2 super chat. Appreciate you, Mac. Says Mav. Xbox says PlayStation, hold my beer. Yep. True Serum says uh, she used AI to tell you what you want to hear. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. And you say you appreciate my renegade spirit. Yeah, I mean, just looking at trying to look at things objectively and just give honest opinions on this stuff, man. It's like from the gut. There's no faking here on this channel. There's no bullshit. It's just like whatever I think and feel. And like at this point, I'm gonna say what I think and feel. Now, some people may not agree with me, and that's fine. We'll have lots to say about it. Nate Dog, appreciate you. Nate Dog says, "Hey Matt, some great shows over the years. Crazy Phil is gone. He was always in the news. Yeah, will there ever be a gaming CEO of Xbox or Nintendo, PlayStation as polarizing as Phil Spencer? I mean, we've had great ones before, like Peter Moore was out there. He was like, speaking of Renegade, he had that like maverick spirit. He was super competitive and like in your face type. Like, hey, we're badasses. Look at this. He had kind of that attitude. So like he was someone everybody loved though. Phil was like polarizing in a lot of ways because is somebody I think you want to root for because he's kind of like a down to earth gamer kind of guy is what he seemed like. And he'd been there for so long. He's a company guy. Started as an intern, worked there for 38 years at the time of his announcement of his retirement. Worked his way up, became the head of Xbox. Made a lot of great changes in the Xbox One generation. As in my opinion, probably saved Xbox from being shut down. And then has since gone on to transform Xbox into something that some people don't like as much and some people love. I for one am definitely okay with a lot of the changes that they've made because I like just playing games and I don't care what other games people get to play as long like I just want the games, man. Like it doesn't bother me if somebody else on a different platform gets to play the same game that I get to play. I just am happy that I get to play the games, right? So, and I prefer judging the devices and the hardware based on the quality and features and like what are they providing me, not just the fact that it only can play certain games, right? That's not really what I look at for a platform. Is like I love that platform, that's my favorite platform. It's about everything that it has, all the games that it has in it, but also like what is that device providing me as a gamer. Now, if it's just exclusive games, that I get that, and a lot of people are fine with that model. Like Nintendo can have a shitty device but still be applauded because it has great games. So I would rather have a great device and great games, which I think Xbox gives us. So it's interesting to see with this though. Like it's been a lot of changes this last year. I mean, you go into 2024, which was the year of the doom and gloom, is what I call it. With when the news started dropping, Xbox starts going multi-platform. Tim Dog goes crazy on Twitter. Everybody's like yelling at each other. Xbox civil war almost within the podcasting world. Half of Xbox guys hate Xbox all of a sudden and are ditching the platform. Some love it, and it's just been chaos ever since all of that happened. And here we are today now, and more changes are unfolding, and we don't know exactly why they're unfolding in the way that they are. If what there is to read into, but let's try and read into it. You know what I mean? Jay Rembert with the $5 super chat says, I would have felt better if Sarah Bond was the CEO. Her not being there tells me Nadella is going to drastically change the Xbox brand as we know it. Remains to be seen. We'll get into some of that, though. Appreciate the $5 super chat, Jay Rembert. You rock. Stitchius asks, Mav, how's Pong? Is he okay? Pong is doing great, dude. Pong is doing fantastic. He is at space camp right now, getting ready to become an astronaut. His Starfield love has made him want to pursue that path. He was a little jealous of Jasper when he got into Space Force. So he was like, well, I'm too old for that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go sign back up for the space camp I took when I was a kid, and then I'm going to stick around there until they let me be an astronaut. So that's what Pong is up to. No, obviously I'm kidding. He's no, he's just got a lot of stuff going on in like real life stuff, but he's doing fantastic. Other than his computer's having some issues right now, but hopefully he gets that fixed up soon. But yeah, maybe in the next month or so, hopefully we'll get to see him pop around. He's got to get situated and stuff. He's going to be in a new place, I think. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but he'll be like in a new place next month, I think, at some point. And he's got to set all that up and stuff. But hopefully we'll see him back around then. He still loves gaming. Just hasn't had a lot of time to partake in any of this stuff and even playing games this last couple months. But yeah, we still keep in touch in DMs, and he's doing great. But yeah, I tell him occasionally everybody asks about him and stuff, so he likes to hear that. Yeah, so the Sarah Bond was kind of like the surprise. Like it's been a lot of people thought, okay, at some point here soon, Phil would retire. A lot of us thought it would happen after the next gen console launch. Um, but yeah, it's here now, right? So it doesn't necessarily surprise me too much that Phil's retiring. Supposedly, and we don't know what's true, what's not, but supposedly, he had to talk with Satya last year about it, and now the time has come. So, uh, is that true or is it not? I mean, probably somewhat. I don't think that this massive move it's not like he just said today I'm retiring. You know what I mean? So we don't know exactly when that came down. So is it a surprise to? I mean, he's been there for so long, done so much. That's not the surprise. The surprise is that Sarah Bond is not taking over, right? Like, that's a surprise. So we can look into the Sarah Bond situation and read into that, because that's going to be like, what does that necessarily mean? Like, why did she resign all of a sudden when Phil's leaving? And we don't know. And honestly, unless she does like an interview down the road at some point, we may never know, you know? Um, but a lot of people are like just taking this as like all of a sudden this was decided, you know, all of a sudden Phil decided to retire. All of a sudden Sarah Bond decided to resign. I think this was probably something that's been going on for a little while now that they've been preparing for. They just don't say anything to us or let us have a hint at it, because that would just run rampant with crazy speculation and news and all these other kind of things and articles and stuff. So I think it's been something that's been in the works for a while now. So why did Sarah leave? I don't know. But first, before we get into a lot of our speculation, right? Like our speculation, I want to read what they said. So yeah, Trey Bone says no one ever said Sarah was taking over for Phil. We were the ones saying all that. We just assumed it. Yeah, we did assume it because it just seemed like that's what the natural path was. It just seemed like she was being put in as the face, and especially when she was made the head of Xbox, it just seemed like, okay, that's just natural progression and path. I mean, like as Microsoft CEO was what Phil Spencer became. They made her our CEO of gaming. They made her the head of Xbox. So it was just kind of like, well, that's probably next. But yeah, we didn't see this. Yeah, there's a lot to think about here. So let's get into some of these things that were said. So first off, the big announcement. Phil Spencer. I want to read what he wrote on Twitter. This was earlier today. It's rare in life to know when a chapter is closing, but after 38 years at Microsoft, that moment has arrived for me. I've made the decision to retire and begin the next chapter of my life. It's a milestone that's given me a chance to reflect on the incredible journey I've been fortunate enough to share with so many of you. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of this chapter. This community has meant more to me than I can say. From here, I'll keep doing what's always mattered so much to me, cheering on the teams, pushing this industry forward, and playing alongside this incredible community. I'll see you online. That's what he had to say on Twitter, basically to to us, right? And yeah, hey, cheers, Phil. I hope you have a great retirement. Hope you enjoy playing all the games that you've been playing all these years and still keep doing that. And I hope Xbox is in good hands. He seems to think so, but we'll have to wait and see. So, gonna go read the news that I don't know if her name is it pronounced Asha or Asha. I have to go back and listen to some interviews when she's like introduced. I'll say Asha because I don't know. That's how I read it. Asha Sharma named Executive Vice President and CEO Microsoft Gaming. So Satya Nadella's message. Gaming has been a part of Microsoft from the start. Flight Simulator shipped before Windows, and you can practically ray trace a line from DirectX in the 90s to the accelerated compute era we're in today. As we celebrate Xbox's 25th year, the opportunity and innovation agenda in front of us is expansive. Today, we reach over 500 million monthly active users, are a top publisher across all platforms, and continue to innovate across gaming hardware, content, and community in service of creators and players everywhere. I am long on gaming and its role at the center of our consumer ambition. And as we look ahead, I'm excited to share that Asha Sharma will become Executive Vice President and CEO, Microsoft Gaming, reporting to me. Over the last 2 years at Microsoft and previously as Chief Operating Officer at Instacart and a Vice President at Meta, Asha has helped build and scale services that reach billions of people and support thriving consumer and developer ecosystems. She brings deep experience building and growing platforms, aligning business models to long-term value, and operating at global scale, which will be critical in leading our gaming business into its next era of growth. Matt Booty will become Executive Vice President and Chief Content Officer, reporting to Asha. Matt's career reflects a lifelong commitment to games and to the people who make them. Under his leadership, Microsoft Gaming has grown to span nearly 40 studios across Xbox, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, and King, which are home to beloved franchises including Halo, Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Candy Crush, and Fallout. Together, Asha and Matt have the right combination of consumer product leadership and gaming depth to push our platform innovation and content pipeline forward. Last year, Phil Spencer made the decision to retire from the company. So again, they mentioned last year, right? And since then, we've been talking about succession planning. I want to thank Phil for his extraordinary leadership and partnership. Over 38 years at Microsoft, including 12 years leading gaming, Phil helped transform what we do and how we do it. He expanded our reach across PC, mobile, and cloud, nearly tripled the size of the business, helped shape our strategy through the acquisitions of Activision Blizzard, ZeniMax, and Minecraft, and strengthened our culture across our studios and platforms. I've long admired Phil's unwavering commitment to players, creators, and his team, and I am personally grateful for his leadership and counsel. He will continue working closely with Asha to ensure a smooth transition. Just to note, one thing that was cool to see, and the reason I bring this up now is because Satya just said the things that he admired about Phil. I just noticed just a shit ton of people from the industry, gaming execs, studio heads, people that met him in person. Even there was one developer that used to be an intern at Microsoft that made had some things to say. And it seems like the lasting impression from like people that actually knew him and got to work around him and were around him a lot only had great things to say. Now, many in the media pointed out, like, yeah, can't necessarily agree with all of his decisions, and that's for sure with especially with all these executives. But you know, the person that you are, the mark that you leave, I think that's an important thing as well. So it was interesting seeing all that. Like, hey, you were a big impact or this or that or whatever. Now, going back into this, we have extraordinary creative talent across our studios and a global platform that is second to none. I'm excited for how we will capture the opportunity ahead and define what comes next while staying grounded in what players and creators value. Please join me in congratulating Asha and Matt on their new roles and in thanking Phil for everything he has done for Microsoft and for our industry. All right. Phil Spencer's message. Y'all ready for this? What does Phil have to say? This is different from his Twitter message, obviously. When I walked through Microsoft's doors as an intern in June of 1988, I could never have imagined the products I'd helped build, the players and customers we'd serve, or the extraordinary teams I'd be lucky enough to join. It's been an epic ride and truly the privilege of a lifetime. Last fall, I shared with Satya that I was thinking about stepping back and starting the next chapter of my life. From that moment, we aligned and on approaching this transition with intention, ensuring stability, and strengthening the foundation we've built. Xbox has always been more than a business. It's a vibrant community of players, creators, and teams who care deeply about what we build and how we build it, and it deserves a thoughtful, deliberate plan for the road ahead. Today marks an exciting new chapter for Microsoft Gaming as Asha Sharma steps into the role of CEO. And I want to be the first to welcome her to this incredible team. Working with her over the past several months has given me tremendous confidence. She brings genuine curiosity, clarity, and a deep commitment to understanding players, creators, and the decisions that shape our future. We know this is an important moment for our fans, partners, and team, and we're committed to getting it right. I'll remain in an advisory role through the summer to support a smooth handoff. I'm also grateful for the strength of our studio's organization. Matt Booty and our studios teams continue to build an incredible portfolio, and I have full confidence in the leadership and creative momentum across our global studios. I want to congratulate Matt on his promotion to EVP and Chief Content Officer. As part of this transition, Sarah Bond has decided to leave Microsoft to begin a new chapter. Sarah has been instrumental during a defining period for Xbox, shaping our platform strategy, expanding Game Pass and cloud gaming, supporting new hardware launches, and guiding some of the most significant moments in our history. I'm grateful for her partnership and the impact she's had, and I wish her the very best in what comes next. Now, it's also Phil's the only one that mentioned Sarah. So that's interesting. I don't know what it means, but it is interesting that, Satya didn't mention Sarah Bond, especially, because she was at a very high role there, and not to mention her resigning, was interesting. Is that an oversight? Was it purposeful? Probably purposeful, but who knows? All right, so here we go. Here we hear from the new CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Asha Sharma. Dear team, today I begin my role as CEO of Microsoft Gaming. I feel two things at once, humility and urgency. Humility because this team has built something extraordinary over decades. Urgency because gaming is in a period of rapid change and we need to move with clarity and conviction. I am stepping into work shaped by generations of artists, engineers, designers, writers, musicians, operators, and more who create worlds that have brought joy and deep personal meaning to hundreds of millions of players. The level of craft here is exceptional, and it is amplified by Xbox, which was founded in the belief that the power of games connects people and pushes the industry forward. Sounds like something Phil would say, right? Almost too much like something Phil would say, but that's fine. Thank you to Phil for his leadership and to every studio, platform, and operations team that built this foundation. We are stewards of some of the most loved stories and characters in entertainment and bring players and creators together around the fun and community of gaming in entirely new ways. Now, here's where we get into interesting things, because she goes into her like primary objectives here, primary jobs, right? That she sees. That starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. 100%. I agree with that. that should always come first if your job is literally to make games. Everything begins here. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable characters, stories that make us feel, innovative gameplay, and creative excellence. We will empower our studios, invest in iconic franchises, and back bold new ideas. We will take risk. We will enter new categories and markets where we can add real value, grounded in what players care about most. I like the fact that she says they will take risk. What does it mean? I don't know, but it stands out. I like the fact that they say, taking risk is definitely a good thing. Brett Bingham, I see you, says, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty fucking skeptical about this. That being said, we'll just have to wait and see. She teased about bringing the Blades UI back. Yeah, I'll get into some of the stuff that she's been tweeting also in a little bit, Brett. Because, being announced, it's her first opportunity to introduce herself to the community. And I think she was trying to do that in a big way today. And cement like, hey, I know Xbox, is basically what she's trying to do. But we'll get into some of the tweets that she's been tweeting and her replies and stuff. All right, second. Now, this is the one I'm the most curious about because, and actually, obviously she's not going to answer me, but I actually asked her, what does this mean, really? Because I think it's a little vague. And I found this the most interesting thing about anything that she said with her objectives or goals, and commitments. Her second commitment is the return of Xbox. Now she tries to say what it means, but I still don't really understand what it means. We will recommit to our core Xbox fans and players. How? How do you recommit to core Xbox fans and players? Lower the prices of the consoles and Game Pass would be a start. That would be good. Pricing right now for Xbox is one of the biggest issues. Consoles have gone up so much. None of these companies wanted to take the losses that they've been taking in the past years. And the Game Pass $30 price hike was too much, in my opinion. I think for me, it makes sense to pay that, but I think it's going to be like way more of don't necessarily need it for a lot of people. But whereas beforehand, Game Pass was like a no-brainer, and that was the biggest selling point for the console itself, actually. It still was, especially with the games going other places. But with the price hike on it, it kind of detracts away from that a little bit. And how can you commit to your core fans? Well, don't bleed them dry. In pricing being lower is a better way to grow. That's just my own opinion, but I would say that's a good way to start. I don't think she'll make that happen, but we'll see. Again, we will recommit to our core Xbox fans and players, those who have invested with us for the past 25 years. and to the developers who build the expansive universes and experiences that are embraced by players across the world. So yeah, again, like I don't know 100% what that means. Um but we'll find out, I guess, you know. We will celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with console, which has shaped who we are. It connects us to the players and fans who invest in Xbox, and to the developers who build ambitious experiences for it. So that's what I'm getting at again. Like, okay, are you gonna bring back, like, are you gonna lower the price on the consoles? Are you gonna increase the manufacturing? Are you gonna have more hardware options out there? You know, the console we already know is coming. That's something we already know is gonna happen. Nate Dogg says she's bringing back exclusivity. Is that a thing? Is they going to bring back exclusivity to the console game for console games? I don't know. I don't see that really happening either, man. Like, what does that mean? Like, how are you going to recommit to Xbox starting with the console? You know, gaming now lives again. So this is one of the reasons why I don't think that's happening. She goes on to say, gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware. As we expand across PC, mobile, and cloud, Xbox should feel seamless, instant, and worthy of the communities we serve. We will break down barriers so developers can build once and reach players everywhere without compromise. Cool. I mean, yeah, you're like, I just don't know what any of it means. We'll have time will tell, right? Recommitting to Xbox, to the console, all sounds great. You know what I mean? All sounds fantastic. What does it mean and how? More survey says more advertising and more community stuff. That would be a good start. Maybe that's it. You know, push it harder. You know, more deals or something, or like I saw somebody in the chat say like more third party deals again. You know, something like that. Like I don't know. I don't know how she achieves that goal with Xbox still saying the path that they are, but it's strong words, right? So she's saying the things that it seems like the direction that gamers want the Xbox to go, but I don't understand exactly what or how she's achieving this with the statement. So right now it's very vague. It's like a statement of intention without any clear path of direction, you know? But maybe they have stuff behind the scenes, but we don't know what that, we don't know. And the third is future of play. We are we are witnessing the reinvention of play. To meet the moment, we will invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what we already have. Iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love. But now I like this statement too. We will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. So basically, I think that's almost like a jab at PlayStation. Because this is literally what we were talking about yesterday, and with the direction of PlayStation Studios. Because they've created these IPs, and then they got set on the remasters and remasters and remasters, and then they wanted to turn all of their big IP into games of service games that nobody wanted. Something like Sons of Sparta came out, which is a slap in the face, I think, to God of War fans personally. And it's like milking God of War fans, and monetize, like they shut down Bluepoint, who had been forced to work on that God of War multiplayer thing instead of their own IP. So I almost take this as like a shot at PlayStation, but maybe that's just how I want to see it. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. As monetization and AI It's funny, like we will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, it's so funny how you can like read one paragraph and then like another paragraph completely like contradicts the other paragraph before it. That happened as well with this one, and where you have we will celebrate roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with console, which has shaped who we are. Um, and then the next paragraph, gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware. As we expand across PC, mobile, and cloud. Like literally, those two paragraphs are like one on top of each other, and like they almost like completely contradict each other. It's like each paragraph is like meant for a different kind of gamer. You know what I mean? It's like each paragraph is meant for a different audience. Um, so it's like, again, we will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. Sentence. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Gamers are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. So we'll see. I think a lot of people did jump to the whole her background with Microsoft being the head of the AI division, and it's interesting to see that. And I think there's that directly may be why she was chosen, because of closeness with Satya, who is big time on AI, and maybe why Sarah Bond was passed over. Somebody that Satya feels comfortable with taking the company in the direction that he wants to, you know. So it's interesting seeing that though, because her words almost like contradict though that feeling. So we don't know what to make of it, right? So yeah, she did call out AI slop, which is good, but what does that mean for how they are going to use AI? We don't know, right? Yeah, like El Nini says, PR statements offer little value. Yeah, there's little things you can kind of speculate upon, but time will tell. None of us really know anything about what's actually going to take place. We can look into what is she saying and do we believe it, and also is it some like if she says certain things, it's something that you got to try and stand behind. So we'll hold them to that, you know. The next 25 years belong to the teams who dare to build something surprising, something no one else is willing to try, and have the patience to see it through. We have done this before, and I am here to help us do it again. I want, I like this. I want to return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place. It will require us to relentlessly question everything, revisit processes, protect what works, and be brave enough to change what does not. Thank you for welcoming me into this journey. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking know, guys. Like, is she the right person for the job? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Like, I think timing is interesting because, yeah, we're like, this is like before, okay, like the year ended. They had the Dev Direct, which was kind of like a thing they'd already been planning. And at this time, it's like maybe the perfect time for transition because the next big news cycles really won't start until summer games showcase time, probably. Maybe you have some other things that happen in between them, like Starfield news or this or that or whatever, right? But this is setting her up to be okay. Get in the face for all of the promotional stuff. They're going to be doing the summer game showcase stuff, all of the um, you know, Gamescom, TGS, all those things for, this is my Xbox, and I think we'll probably see more of Matt Booty than we're used to seeing as well. So maybe we'll get some more booty nuggets. So that was her statement. Then we heard from Matt Booty himself, who again was promoted with this. It said, I read Phil's note with much gratitude. He has been a steady champion for game creators and our studio teams, and I've learned so much from his leadership over the years. All our games have benefited from his foundational support, and I'm also grateful to Satya for his ongoing commitment to gaming and holding a vision of how it can connect back to the larger company. Looking forward, I'm excited to partner with Asha as our next CEO. Our first conversation centered on her commitment to making great games and the role that plays in our overall success. She asks questions, pushes for clarity, and wants our choices grounded in player and developer needs. That mindset matters as the industry around us is changing quickly. How players engage, how games are made, and how business models and platforms evolve. We have good reason to believe in what's ahead. This organization and its franchises have navigated change for decades, and our strength comes from teams who know how to adapt and keep delivering. That confidence is grounded in a strong pipeline of established franchises, new bets we believe in, and clear player demand for what we are building. My focus is on supporting the teams and leaders we have in place and creating the conditions for them to do their best work. To be clear, there are no organizational changes underway for our studio. Thanks for everything you do for players and for each other, Matt. So that's the end of the PR statements from the execs that were all part of this. So Matt Booty did say something that was interesting in the fact that he said there's no organizational changes underway for our studios right now. Because I don't know if that's something that we're going to be paying attention to, because it had already been rumored heavily from many in not just games media but in media that Microsoft was well on for another massive wave of layoffs and restructuring. And Matt Booty is completely contradicting that right now, saying that there are no organizational changes underway for our studios. So does that mean there will be soon? They're just not currently? I don't know. But I read something else that he had said that said there's no plans to restructuring at this time. So yes, clearly to make the developers feel good and safe right now with such massive change happening. But yeah, it's interesting to see, like, if in 2 months there is like a massive restructuring, studio closure, layoffs, or whatever, you know, is that this would mean nothing at that point, you know? So yeah, it's that's the statements from them. Like, missing from those statements, you may have seen or may have heard, was Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond did not have a letter on that page. She did not have an email to staff. All of that stuff that the other ones. Again, like we said, what was missing from all of the ones besides Phil Spencer was any mention of Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond was also not included in that. So she went to LinkedIn and made a post. And we can only speculate what the hell happened. Sarah Bond said, sharing with gratitude the note I sent to my team today. Grateful to our players, developers, partners, and team. Forever a fan of Xbox. Hi, team. I know there's a lot of news to take in today. I'm incredibly proud of what we've built together over the past 8+ years. PC and cloud gaming are growing faster than ever. Our next console is well underway, and together we've helped lay the foundation for a more open gaming platform that spans devices and reaches players around the world. When we announced our intention to acquire Activision Blizzard in 2022, I committed to helping lead Xbox through what would be a critical period of change. Over the past 4 years, we've navigated that moment together and positioned the business for what comes next. We took on some of the biggest challenges this organization has ever faced and did it as one team. With that, I've decided this is the right time for me to take my next step, both personally and professionally. So I found the personally thing interesting. Like, she's like, beyond this is almost how I take that. We're living through a transformative technological era that will shape the next generation of our industry, and I'm energized by what's ahead. This moment also presents a unique opportunity for fresh eyes and new leadership to guide the team into its next chapter. I've had the privilege of spending time with Asha over the last few weeks. So this is like, a lot of people are speculating, oh shit, she found out today. And because like she made a post on LinkedIn about somebody's feedback about a survey, she must have found this out today. And then it was like, then left. Like, no, I don't think that's the case. Like, um, I think that at whatever point, at whatever point Asha was chosen over Sarah, this is just my speculation, to be the next CEO, she was like, I'm out. I'm out. Maybe he was offered something, maybe offered another promotion in some form or fashion or whatever. We don't know. But my opinion, my feeling is when that happened, she was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna turn in my notice, help with the transition, and then leave. Right. She said, I've had the privilege of spending time with Asha over the last few weeks as we've planned for this transition. And I've seen firsthand her deep commitment to our players, developers, and brand. She brings deep technology and commerce experience, along with a strong track record of building and scaling platforms that the world uses. Xbox deserves this. I'm excited to see her lead this next chapter for our team. I'll remain on as a special advisor to Asha to help ensure a smooth transition and set the organization up for continued success. Um, I want to thank Phil for his mentorship and friendship over the years. He's been a consistent champion of this business and the people who make it what it is. And I've learned a great deal from the way he leads through both opportunity and challenge. I'm grateful for his trust and support through my time on the team. I also want to thank Satya for his sponsorship and support throughout my time at Microsoft. As I prepare to sign off, I've been reflecting on three simple questions I've tried to use to guide my days. Did I bring my best? Did I help someone else succeed? And did I do my best work? I hope the answer has been yes. For many of you, it's been a privilege to work alongside this team. Omi Tony said, gonna say it again. If they can't launch consoles now with RAM shortages, then Sarah has less reason to stay through new leadership. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna become Asha Sharma's Xbox console. Like, like it's still a ways away from launch. We don't know what's happening with the RAM shortages. They say the console development's way underway. We don't know exactly how far that means when we can get a potential answer on that. Um, the recommitment from the new CEO to consoles is interesting as well. What does that mean? Time will tell. Time will tell. Do I think Xbox is dead? Do I think that this is just like a temporary staging thing where, hey, we're just going to put a yes person in charge of Xbox and Microsoft while we can slowly shutter things down or like wind it down to where we're only just maybe publishing some games or that's it or just whatever. I honestly don't think so. I think there's way too much investment with Xbox. I think there's way too much at stake there for the company. I also think it's one of their uh, more forward-facing brands to the consumer. I think they see the advantages of AI as well within the gaming space and using that as a business driver going forward. So I think that's one of the reasons an AI person from Microsoft was put in charge there. I also think that um, they may be reflected on leadership over the last several years and the state of some of the financials and stuff that had been coming out. And when they looked for somebody to replace Phil, they Maves looked from the outside the Xbox division on purpose. They may have just said, "Well, we're gonna try something different to bring some new energy and new life into that team, and shake things up to see what happens." Like, there's a lot of speculation. I don't know why Sarah Bond didn't end up taking over. The other thing you could say, like I said, like she got passed over and got mad and left. Maybe I don't know. The other possibility is she had other opportunities. She didn't want to be there when Phil's gone because she didn't want to deal with the Microsoft nonsense directly and having to navigate that shit show that Phil Spencer's had to deal with over the last several years. And she's maybe has someplace else that she has a good opportunity. Don't know. Don't know. But Sarah Bond is gone, as well as Phil Spencer has retired, and we have a new head of Microsoft Gaming, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, with Asha Sharma, who is not known by any of us in the gaming space. Doesn't have a gaming background with business at all. I'm not sure how much gaming she does personally or whatever. That'll be a question I'm sure at some point somebody will ask her. But besides that, Matt Booty is promoted. We know he's a savage based on the FTC leaks. We saw those emails, right? We know what direction he wanted Xbox to go in. It is interesting for me that he was promoted again and he's there. It's kind of like Sarah Bond was like, "Hey, we're gonna spread all the games out for everyone, all that kind of stuff." Matt Booty was like, "No, I wanted to fucking be savage and put PlayStation out of business." I mean, that was the kind of guy he was in those emails. I mean, so it's like, I don't know. It's like interesting the change that they made at this time, because it doesn't necessarily fit with the direction they've been heading. So what is the new direction? Whew, don't know. Like it here's the thing that we do know. Leadership changes matter. Even at a fucking fast food restaurant. Okay? I mean, I've used this analogy before. You go past one of these restaurants that sucked for a long ass time and they have a sign outside that's under new management. It's because they had a bad reputation. They had a bad reputation. They want everybody to know, hey, this shit show is gone. Now, you can go to 20 different Wendy's drive-thrus, right? And some are going to operate shitty as hell. Some of them are going to like operate like a machine and be awesome. Some are going to have people that are being rude to you or not give a shit, not say anything to you, when they hand you your food. Some are going to be like super polite. And it's usually pretty consistent at the same locations of businesses. And a lot of it is due to management. Like, and you could have, that goes across any business. Like, leadership matters. The easiest thing to point to is that, because we've all experienced that stuff. You know what I mean? And how well does she operate and navigate between Xbox and Microsoft? That will be the telling thing. That'll be the thing that defines her success going forward. Because it's almost like, okay, you're battling against this big tech AI company now, cloud AI services company, because you're a big part of them, and you operate a completely different business within that is producing entertainment content. And how do you navigate this consumer-focused entertainment games business within a company that has a completely different mindset? And it's about trying to bend that Microsoft mindset to the will that best supports the gamers, right? Because ultimately that's going to be what's best for their business, is what's best for us. And has that happened over the last 8-9 years? I don't know. I know that I'm personally okay with a lot of the stuff. I don't like the prices. on things. If it after ABK, it felt like it became a different monster where they had to answer a lot more questions and they had to try and make up um, bigger margins in different ways. And with that, I think they've lost the soul some of what made Xbox special with that renegade spirit, all that kind of stuff that she was talking about. So, how does she recapture that in this world, the same world that Phil Spencer was having to operate in? You know? So, she's saying the right things to different people because there's almost, like I said, there's almost paragraphs that contradict each other. But what does it mean? So we also have an interview with Variety. New Microsoft Gaming CEO Asha Sharma on what makes a great game. It's the dawn of a new era for Xbox. On Friday, Microsoft Gaming announced longtime leader Phil Spencer would be retiring as CEO and that Asha Sharma, Microsoft Core AI's head of product development, had been named his successor. Jump in, that'd be a good way. Yeah, bring back the jump in marketing, that'd be cool. Bring back the blades, bring back the jump in, just return to the 360 era. Yeah. That's what a lot of people are saying right now. Yeah, it is crazy, Psycho. 100%, dude. With Spencer having been a staple in the gaming community for decades, Sharma knows she has some big shoes to fill, telling Variety in an interview she has deep respect for Spencer's leadership and the legacy he's leaving behind to her and now Chief Content Officer Matt Booty. Sharma was quick in laying out her top priorities for Microsoft Gaming in an internal memo announcing her promotion, noting great games, the return of Xbox, and the future of play as her three main commitments to the gaming community. So first, what makes a great game for Sharma, whose roles prior to Core AI include top positions at Instacart and Meta? The new Microsoft Gaming CEO tells Variety it's all about games with deep emotional resonance and a distinct point of view. She wants to develop stories that makes players feel something, like the kind of feelings Campo Santo's 2016 first-person mystery Firewatch elicited in her. So here's her saying, I'm a gamer. Look, I played Firewatch, and that's an example of a game that I like, right? Basically. So, does she play games? Well, she listed one that she's played, apparently. Firewatch is a fantastic fucking game. Firewatch is a good game. So Sharma takes on the mantle as head of the leading competitor to Sony's PlayStation and Nintendo, knowing full well she's entering the role as an outsider to the larger gaming community and has a lot to learn still. But Sharma says she's got a commitment to being grounded in what the community is telling us. I'm coming into gaming as a platform builder, Sharma said, adding that her goal is to earn the right to be trusted by players and developers and show the fan base that consistency over time. In her interview with Variety, Sharma acknowledged the tumultuous state of the gaming industry, referencing Matthew Ball's recent State of Video Gaming in 2026 report as evidence that the larger transformation of the sector is protecting what we believe in while remaining open-minded about the future. Due to her strong background in AI, initial reactions to Sharma's appointment have raised concerns about what her specific views are on the use of generative AI in game development. Sharma says her stance is simple. She has no tolerance for bad AI. So what makes AI bad? That's what I don't know 100% what she means, right? AI has long been a part of gaming and will continue to be. I agree with that. And I agree that it's going to continue to be and it's going to just grow. And it's not just a Microsoft thing. So anybody jumping to just 100% that, this is like the AI just take over, it's already happening. It's already happening. Sharma said nothing, noting that gaming needs new growth engines, but that great stories are created by humans. Spencer's exit comes as Microsoft Gaming is approaching its 25th anniversary this fall, an event Sharma is looking forward to ushering in as she sets the stage for the company's future. Sharma sees it as a moment to honor the past while setting direction for the next chapter, which will include big updates out of the upcoming GDC Festival of Gaming next March, and even some larger announcements ahead of Xbox's next game showcase presentation this spring. Rainbow Six Vegas 2 NPCs is bad AI. Yeah, there's a lot of bad AI in that sense in gaming for sure. Treybone says nothing is changing with the people on top. Xbox is moving on to the next evolution, which is AI. Sarah doesn't have an AI background. Asha does. Sarah probably just wanted the experience. Maybe. I mean, she can tell everybody she handled and was a core part of the whole ABK thing, which is one of the biggest acquisition in gaming history. My thought is she'll probably move on to some non-gaming thing or some other company. Who knows? Survey says if AI takes over and the games suck, I'm totally abandoning this hobby. I love the facts. It's humans that created unbelievable worlds. I think that AI is going to be used more as a tool set to help the artists and stuff. I don't think you're just going to be playing like AI games. I mean, you will, but not necessarily from like the big studio teams and everything that we're used to seeing. I think you're going to see like I think it's going to start with mobile shit. You're going to see like a lot of AI mobile shit, and then you'll see like a lot of the fodder shit we see now like in the storefronts that are just like the little random bullshit games that nobody cares about. And then you'll have some companies that use it more, and it becomes a little bit controversial. And at some point, way down the line, somebody make like a fully AI created game. I don't know, but I think we will see more AI being used as tools for developers in different ways than just like content creation. I'm not talking about just like creating art or creating levels. I'm talking about like checking for bugs. I'm talking about uh, helping with coding stuff, or I'm talking about um, engine development, like core aspect shit that we don't really necessarily even think about. I'm talking about okay, well, the kind of stuff that like systems, like the kind of stuff that they've already developed code for, like all these NPCs going around doing all these random things, living their lives, right? All these NPCs in these worlds that are having these lives, walking around doing their own thing. AI can be used maybe for instances like that. It can be used to create ongoing dialogue of never ending possibilities of dialogue, things like that. I could see possibilities with that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Um, and in some of those instances, that gets me a little excited about what AI could do. But I don't look at it as like just playing an AI game and it's just the like everything I see is created by AI. I don't think that's where we're going, at least not for a very long time. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, yeah, like indies, some smaller indie studios and shit like that. Like probably you'll see some of that kind of stuff. Um, but then it's like okay, if a team of 10 can use AI to help them build something that runs smoothly, is optimized, and it looks like a AAA game, when I play it, if now how much of it is created by AI, how much of it is the human element, it's all we're gonna find out, guys. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll find it out. You know, I mean, I'd already argue that a lot of the systems in place for like with Unreal and things like that have already made it to where the smaller teams can create games that look maybe just as good as AAA games developed by 1,000 people. I mean, you look at a small team like made Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, or they made Clair Obscure Expedition 33, or the games like that, and it's like they hold up against the games made like Assassin's Creed Shadows and stuff, and Like, obviously, those aren't AI games, but what I'm saying is like it's not. We're already at that point where small teams can deliver that experience. So, yeah, I think a lot of the creators and the studios, the people that run the studios, are against using that too. But there'll be some startups, there'll be some companies that are like AI games. We're all in, and they go ham on it and maybe produce some cool shit. I don't know, man. Yeah, like Arc Raiders uses some AI. It got lambasted for it, but like I think wrongfully so. They use AI voicing. The voice actors were paid for the right recorded and were paid for the rights to their voices for ongoing content and shit like that, pretty much. So there was actual voice actors involved that actually got paid for their work and had a contract according to what the use of it would be. Is that wrong or is it right? I don't know. We see that more and more lately with stuff. And what does that allow? Well, if I have NPCs or characters that you forever want to be able to have dialogue in the game, or you want them to be able to have new content, have new things, new missions, new things to say, not having to bring these people back out and do recording sessions, all that kind of stuff, as long as their contract that they signed originally pays them accordingly, then that's fine for me, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I think that gaming is a core element of what created AI in the first place. Like, I mean, we've all said AI for a reason when we're talk about games dating back to you're fighting against the AI. We've all said that stuff like because they've had to train enemies, interactions, all those stuff within models of the game, and all that stuff runs in like an environment. That's all developed by people, but that's what AI is too. It's developed by people, and then they can implement that stuff. And the way we see AI now is it's taken on another level to that, right? Like if in a game like Skyrim or like Fable, where everybody's doing their own thing, everybody's living their own life. You know what I mean? Like all these NPCs, they had to create all that stuff, and it lives in like a world. Like it's a lot of processes and stuff that involve with that. We call that AI. We've always called that AI. You know, so it's interesting to see where that goes. Um, when we talk about AI these days, a lot of our thoughts with it are just images, like video images, or what we're playing and seeing on the screen. The art style, the way the characters look, all that kind of stuff. And I don't necessarily know how much of that is just going to be 100% AI produced for a while. So anyway, we'll find out, right? But like I don't necessarily think that this necessarily means like, hey, we're just advancing all in on this. They've already been doing that. It's not necessarily like necessarily even more so. It's just maybe she has more expertise with some of that, with aligning people together to do this shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. She's saying the right things as far as like, hey, these things, the best things are created by humans. Great stories are created by humans. She has no tolerance for AI slop, all this other kind of shit, right? But we'll see. If Microsoft just starts putting out bullshit AI stuff all over the place, and that's what Xbox becomes, we'll mark this date and say this is the date that Xbox went to shit. You know, but I think it's too early to make that assessment. Like that's too early. You've seen AI YouTube? Yeah, there's tons of AI shit out there. There's like AI music, there's AI fucking YouTube, there's AI like uh, movie trailers. I mean, just like AI shit all over the place. You also saw the Brad Pitt Tom Cruise thing. Probably go crazy on Twitter. Um, Google's using AI right now to screen every stream that's going on to see if anybody's breaking content guidelines. And they suck at it because they suspended our channel because they thought I had a firearm and it was my hand. Like it doesn't work. And I mean, AI is not perfect at all right now, you know. But we'll see what happens with it over time with the involvement of Asha Sharma as the new CEO. So I'm not just gonna like say that this is like 100% some massive takeover thing. I think we just got to wait and see. I think that the choice of her by Satya is more interesting than anything. Was Sarah not wanting the position? Did he pass her up and go outside and bring Asha Sharma in from another team because he wants somebody that is more AI focused and has a background? For some whatever reason, he thought she was the choice, and I think she's going to have a lot to prove. We know one thing: gamers can be ruthless. We like in general, we can be ruthless. I mean, we can be savage. We can not let anything slide. We can hold you to your words. We will slander you if you betray those words. And there was a lot of words spoken today. Will they hold true? Don't know. You watched a really good Luke Skywalker AI video? Yeah. My favorite AIs is like the shorts of like Stephen Hawking doing the pole vault and shit like that. If you go down this rabbit hole of seeing like shorts of like people who shouldn't be doing the sporting event that they're doing or whatever, and it's just fucking hilarious. Any update for our Sup Babe YouTube? Not right now. I mean, it's still a thing. It's just we have had so much going on, Poisoned, that it's kind of just put aside for now. And we have plans for it, but it just haven't gotten back to doing stuff. We literally have content recorded and stuff. We haven't taken the time to put up on YouTube yet. So at some point we'll kind of refocus and start back up on it again, but don't know exactly when. You saw someone make Arnold Schwarzenegger into a WWF wrestler during a promo. Yeah. I've seen some of these like videos of AI games on Twitter, and honestly, usually I think they look shit. Yeah. Xbox 4949 says, I detest gamer culture. I have nothing in common with 90% of gamers. I just play games to have fun. I have fun 99% of the time I play games. Hey, bro. Like 100%, man. It's interesting. I seeing all the negativity out there. If you don't let it influence you, you're golden. You know, you're golden. Just like ignore that shit. It's something I've learned to do more so. Is that this culture that we're in now of picking and choosing what to completely just shit on all over the place has gone to the extreme. And that's, I mean, you know, even outside of gaming. And if you can learn to just like, hey, I know what I like. I don't give a shit what anybody else says. That could be great. Yeah, but gamer culture is ruthless. But it's been ruthless for a long time. I don't think this was like necessarily just a new thing. I mean, you can go back into. I'll go back into like when Xbox One was getting announced and stuff, and I think part of gamer culture and the way people think it like started out with the games media and how they were portraying things. Like there was a lot of things that they were going to do back then that I thought was actually smart and potentially good for us. But they didn't make it happen. Now it's their fault for not making it happen. They backed off and didn't ever have a I true clear message of how they're going to deliver a lot of that stuff. But they got killed. Everybody was just like, "Fuck, I'm out." They talked too much about TV, and I'm out because they DRM, 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 not really thinking about the future or what it means or any of the plans. And it's just like a lot of people are just quick to jump on things and quick to react to things without really thinking a whole lot. That's been true with gamer culture for a very long time, and especially with gaming news specifically. And that's why it's kind of, something like this happens. It's good to like try and take a look at it and like, well, what does this actually mean? Like, I don't fucking know, man. Like, I'm just be real. I don't know. Is this a good thing? It's just gonna whole fucking depend on what she does. Like, it's too early for me to just say, "I'll throw in the towel. Fucking Xbox is done. Y'all, that fucking leadership's all out. They'll just fucking throw in the towel." Nope. It's over. Time to go home. No, I don't fucking think that. You know? Like, I think right now it's time to like, hey, watch, see what she says, see what she does, and more importantly, see what she does. Because words, as we've learned, don't mean shit. It's about the actions that they take. It's about what they do. It's about what they deliver. It's about the features they introduce. It's about the games they deliver. It's about the games that get announced. It's about standing behind them and not canceling them. Games that have been in development for years and years that internally even they were excited about, but for whatever reason, no, we just got to cancel it. That sucks. And now Microsoft's not the only one guilty of that stuff. Obviously, we know PlayStation just did it again. But we're gonna have to wait and see. Jez had an article. I gotta. What is that? Chris Avellani, the former developer, former writer's problem with Jez? I don't know if anybody saw this, but he like quote tweeted Jez and was like just fucking tore him apart. And then like if you go read the replies and comments, it was just like he hates Jez for some reason. I don't know what that dates back to, but holy shit, that guy's like got some issues, man. Like Jez is a harmless writer. He's just fucking writing shit that he believes, Whether you agree with you or not, that's fine. But I mean, he's like attacking this man. It was pretty crazy. So Jez had stated 6 hours ago on Twitter, "I'm told there's currently no changes planned to the current Xbox Next Gen strategy for now. I'll have more info ASAP." Then he went on to clarify this is specifically about hardware, Magnus, etc. So like, yeah, they're still planning on the next gen console. About to chug Jack Daniels. This is Mr. Pibb. And does it have Jack in it? I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, that dude's always had controversy, but yeah, he's like, that dude's toxic, man. That dude's fucking toxic. So Jez had said that. Um, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I do want to read a little bit what Jez had to say in his article. Because there's a couple of writers I do respect. Because they write from their feelings and they actually believe in what they're writing. Whether people like it or don't like it, that's what they do, right? And sometimes they're wrong or whatever. And also some just stick to the facts. Like I like Tom Warren because a lot of his articles are just stating what happened, and this is the news, right? This is the information. This is the details. Jez has more, like, he infuses more personal feeling towards stuff, but he also does cover the news really well. He says Microsoft has announced a sweeping reorganization of its gaming division as longtime leader Phil Spencer retires after nearly 4 decades at the company. In a pair of internal emails shared today, CEO Satya Nadella confirmed that Asha Sharma, a rising executive with deep experience in consumer platforms, will become executive vice president and CEO of Microsoft Gaming, reporting directly to him. The move marks one of the most significant leadership transitions in Xbox's 25-year history. I would say the most significant. Or maybe was Phil taking over for Don Matrick more significant? I mean, that was a saving grace at the time. You know, but reshaping the division at a moment when Microsoft is positioning gaming at the center of its consumer strategy.
Tap into hundreds of deals on all
that?
your fresh fades.
Wow, what's happening?
The Tom Thumb app can help top members save 35%.
I have to close that. Windows Central's ads, man. I couldn't find like a volume button to turn that shit off. Okay. Let me try again. The fucking Tom Thumb ad. Let me try again without the... I couldn't even find the fucking thing to stop it. Hey, babe. I'm back. Sharma, who joined Microsoft 2 years ago, after senior roles at Instacart and Meta, will now oversee the entire gaming organization, including Xbox, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, and King. Nadella emphasized her track record in scaling global consumer ecosystems and aligning business models to long-term value skills that he says are essential at Microsoft Gaming enters its next era. Asha has helped build and scale services that reach billions of people, he said. Blah, 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 blah. We already read that. Jess says her appointment signals Microsoft's intent to fuse its gaming ambitions with its broader push into AI-driven consumer experiences. Matt Booty promoted. Matt Booty's been elevated to Executive Vice President and Chief Content Officer. New role consolidates oversight of nearly 40 studios across Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, and ABK. Booty's expanded remit reflects Microsoft's desire for tighter coordination across its massive first-party portfolio, which includes Halo, The Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, and Fallout. In his own email to staff, Spencer confirmed that he informed Nadella last fall of his intention to retire, triggering months of succession planning. He described his 38-year career, including 12 years leading Xbox, as the privilege of a lifetime. He praised Sharma's leadership, calling her genuinely curious, clear, and deeply committed to understanding players and creators, and said he has tremendous confidence in the future of Microsoft Gaming under her direction. Spencer will remain in an advisory role through the summer to ensure a smooth transition. He said rumors started circling last summer that Spencer was looking to retire, but those rumors were shot down by Microsoft at the time, likely to preserve a proper announcement and solidify planning. As part of the transition, Xbox President Sarah Bond is leaving the company. Spencer acknowledged her departure in his email, praising her leadership, blah, blah, blah. Microsoft reaffirms commitment to Xbox hardware, games, and strategy. Yeah, so this was like when Nadella said Microsoft remains long on gaming. So they're looking at it for the long haul, apparently. And fully committed to Xbox's hardware roadmap, first-party content, and ecosystem strategy. He highlighted Xbox's reach, again, of over 500 million monthly active users, and its position as a top publisher across platforms. He also framed gaming as a foundational to Microsoft's consumer ambitions, drawing a line from Flight Simulator's pre-Windows origins to the AI-accelerated future the company is now building toward. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I think they see gaming as too important for them. He says the appointment of Sharma, the elevation of Booty, and the retirement of Spencer collectively marks a generational shift for Xbox. The division enters its next chapter with new leadership, a massive content empire, and a mandate to integrate AI more deeply into the gaming experience. For Spencer, the legacy is unmistakable. He rebuilt Xbox's culture, expanded its reach, and helped redefine what a gaming platform could be. Yeah, so that was actually from Daniel Rubino over on Windows Central. And we didn't have any Tom Thumb ads playing that time. Yeah, but that was by Daniel Rubino from Xbox or for Windows Central. So yeah, let's just go to the chat. What do you guys think? Seriously, like, start a. I'm gonna do a poll. Are you optimistic for the future of Xbox? So that's the thing with this. Do you feel nervous? Do you feel dread? Do you feel optimistic? I'm curious. Like I'm just going to be watching all this unfold, right? And see what happens. See what changes are made, if any. I did want to also go into, like I said, I wanted to go into a lot of the things that she was saying on Twitter today to the fans and to people. Pal says, well, she just became, or Coach Hooded Canucks says, well, she just became CEO today, so I'll give her some time. Yeah, so, exactly, right? Gotta wait till the transition show effect. 100%. And when will that be? How long does it take for us to not be in the effects of the Phil Spencer Sarah Bond era and in the effects of the Asha Sharma Matt Booty era? Right? When will we be in that sense to where everything is judged only based on their actions? Like, I would still say we're in the PlayStation world, we're still having fallout from oh, why is my fucking name going blank? The Jim fucker. No, Jim Ryan. Yeah, Jim Ryan. Yeah. Thank you. It's like it didn't sound right in my head. Yeah, we're still. I would say we're still having fallout from the Jim Ryan era. You know, from and that. I mean, when did that take place? Was it like 2024 when he stepped down? I can't remember. Why didn't I put those four? Yeah, I should. I should have put those four. Jimbo. Like, when will we be able to judge Asha Sharma and not Phil Spencer? Like, when will we know? That I would say it could take some time because, like, things that have been in place are probably being seen to fruition to some extent, right? Like the console, their idea for what the next gen console is. I would hesitate to say that that's not. I mean, I doubt that's going to change very much. I doubt that's going to change very much, if at all. I mean, they seem all in on that. Let's see. Oh, thanks, baby. All right, so I want to go into some of her replies. um, I should put this up on the screen. Actually, I think it'll be better. Some of them are GIFs. Here we go. All right, so first, nod to Ready Player One, getting the key. Now, I mean, that references the future of gaming. That references handing the keys over to the kingdom. You know, all these kind of things, like kind of what Ready Player One is about, building like the metaverse in a sense or whatever. That's her response to Phil. Again, also to Paris, she replied, "Well, all Xbox P3 will always be a part of Xbox. Here's the next 25 years." Now, this is one everybody's talking about. Xbox tweeted, "Welcome to Team Xbox. We're excited about what we'll build together." And she replied, "Should bring the Blade dashboard." Now, some were saying, did she just like use like Copilot to ask for good responses to things? I don't know. You know what I mean? But a lot of people loved that she said that, right? And I think the purpose is like her with these replies is trying to say, "Hey gamers, I get you." You know what I mean? Now, is it come across as like she's trying to do that too much or not? I don't know, but anyway, if that's the energy that she's going to put out there, I'm all for it. But if you say that should bring back the Blade dashboard and you have everybody in your replies say yes, besides Fuzzy, I like this. Fuzzy was like, "No, we're way past the Blade dashboard at this point." If she says that, I mean, like, don't. It's interesting. So some people take this seriously. Xbox might be bring back the Blade dashboards. I don't really foresee that. I mean, how would it operate with today's everything we have there? I don't know if it would operate very well, but maybe she could like mandate, hey, the next UI interface that we have has to have a Blade functionality. Maybe something like I don't know, but stuff like that. You got to be careful because some people will take that and say like that's going to happen and blame you if it doesn't. Um, Aaron Greenberg had this to say. Aaron Greenberg is still there. So I'm excited by what's ahead. I will share that after spending dedicated time this week with our new gaming CEO, I am incredibly optimistic about the opportunity ahead under her leadership. Asha is exceptionally bright, eager to listen and learn from others. No ego, but wants to get Xbox and gaming in a direction I'm personally incredibly inspired by. A brave bias for action that starts first with great games, the return to Xbox, starting with the console and a vision for the future, paired with Matt Booty in his expanded role leading all of our creative games and entertainment teams, we are well positioned to do the work we need to do. As a longtime team member and as someone who cares deeply about Xbox, our games, players, and the future, I'm encouraged and eager to help us on the path ahead. Um, Halo said, "I'm welcome aboard." She said, "I'm online and ready." Gears of War said, "Welcome to the Army, soldier." She said, "There's room for one more." Ready for takeoff. Here's one. Age of Empires. "Welcome to the village, Asha. I'll start gathering wood." You see what I mean by the nods? Yeah. Oh, she's familiar with Age of Empires. Congrats and welcome. Been gaming on the Xbox and COG, says Logan Meyer. Thanks, Logan. DM me what's top of mind. Yeah, just a lot of responses to people. Synth Potato said, "Put the players first, build a strong Xbox brand and console. Nobody has any clue what Xbox is in 2026. If you can define what is an Xbox, then you will bring it back much stronger than ever before." And she said, "Heard." Yeah. So also then Major Nelson said, that's a great start. Keep that in mind as you begin to build out your plan. If I may be so bold, let me add one more. Partner with the community. She said, you got it. Thanks, Major. So, yeah. I mean, that's basically her in a nutshell today on her replies to people. I thought some of it was interesting. Like, she's got a lot of followers already compared to what it was earlier this afternoon. But yeah, we'll have to. I did notice. I wanted to share something because I think it was a Idle Sloth that posted this. We wanted the idea of who she is, her personality, the way she speaks in interviews and stuff. I saw this post from Idle Sloth that had some clips of different things she's done. So this was at Ignite.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Joining me now is Asha Sharma, CVP Head of Product from Microsoft AI. But she's my boss. She's awesome.
I'm so lucky.
I'm so glad that we get to have a couple of 10 minutes to talk about what's going on. But the first thing I want to ask you, because you have actual experience working with industry and AI. Tell us, what are people concerned about? What are customers doing with AI? What's important about AI that's relevant to these kinds of companies?
Yeah, I mean, AI has been around for a long time, right? Like, previous company, we were building applications to help people look at 1 billion items that we're updating 3,000 times per second to help you have a better shopping experience. But now we're seeing that every company out there across almost every industry
is turning to AI. Asha Sharma, new head of Xbox.
I think it's now 65,000+ customers are building with some sort of Gen AI in our portfolio. And for the first time, we're seeing the move from prototyping now into production. There's been a few customers that I
still didn't catch how he pronounced her name at the beginning.
So McKesson, they're using Gen AI to actually improve the processing of untouched data to save more patients. Mars, a veterinary and health company, not the candy company, they're using it to actually scan and improve the response time to x-rays so they have more pets' lives saved.
That's like, what does she sound like? How does she deal with media and questions? You know, that's all you're going to learn from this, not anything really that matters.
So we're starting to see the systematic scale of saving money, improving outcomes, and then generating new lines of business for the first time.
I mean, this is really cool because it's actually improving things in reliably good ways.
Yes.
But there's got to be some principles that organizations should follow or should think about, because it is a little bit different. It's not exactly what it used to be with coding. It's AI. What are some things that customers need to think about in order to make this transformation?
The number one thing I tell organizations is don't do AI for AI's sake.
Right.
Start from a business problem, start from a customer problem, work back from there. So that's part one. Part two is that trust needs to be a part of everything you do from the beginning. It can't be this bolt-on at the end. It has to be safe, secure, and private by design. And so the developers who are developing the products need to be thinking about this. The business decision makers that say we need to go solve this use case need to be thinking about trust from the beginning. And so those are the areas that I often push organizations on. I guess the last thing is that, use cases are going to continue to accelerate with Gen AI, and I encourage organizations to start to see around corners and solve problems that weren't possible before. Now that they have AI, and I think those are really magic moments.
I love the way that we start with, you got to have a business problem.
Yes.
And when you start with, how can I make this trustworthy? I love those two principles. What are some things that, like, around the corner that you
will those same principles be taken into?
Should be like, oh, here's something that I could use AI or do something. What are some things that you're seeing around the corner that may be helpful?
Yeah, I mean, the new class of models, especially coming out of OpenAI, but even more broadly, have an incredible set of reasoning capabilities. So I like to think about it as this summer it was high school level aptitude. Now we're at PhD level aptitude. And so the rate of model capability is accelerating. And we're seeing that every model is now going to become multi-model, and therefore every application will become multimodal. I think the second thing is we're seeing the world go from single model to multiple models per application. So Andreessen Horowitz just did this study.
So just listening to her speak, I can sense that she's very tech savvy actually with this shit. Maybe has a decent understanding or good understanding. Like, that's all I can really take from it. But it seems very educated on what she's speaking about.
It showed that on average,
Which sometimes
are using
executives and
3 or
CEOs
more
don't.
models for their application, and so
Will
we're
she
thinking a
sound
lot
as
about-
confident when she's talking about games? That'll be interesting to see. Like, because seems like she's got AI, right? When she's sitting down in an interview or talking to, you know, IGN or whoever, you know, and the talk is about games, will she sound as confident, right? It'll be interesting to see.
How can we help customers find the right model for the right job at the right time? And then the third is agents.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're talking a lot about that, but at its core, it's how do you take a simple application and create a system that adapts and continuously learns and can autonomously take action for you.
And that's the cool thing, right? That for me, it's this. Well, I had this revelation, like with you all, because I'm
right
on the same
the
team.
gotcha
right?
questions,
where it's
Bloomberg. Yeah.
knowing the right model and then putting them to.
Will she even do fan like base media outlet interviews? You know what I mean? Will she do like the kind of funnies? Stuff like that. Destin Legary, you know? It'll be interesting to see that stuff too.
Together to do really cool things, that's where you're going to get a lot of value.
Exactly.
And I love that. So let's talk about Azure AI Foundry, because we talked about principles, we talked about customers and what they're doing. What is Azure AI Foundry? How should people think about it? And then let's get into some.
Yeah,
of the
I agree with that,
components. We got
Dustin.
Yeah, so Foundry is the AI application platform for the modern enterprise. It's data-driven, it's AI-powered development, it's AI-powered trust, and it's AI-powered management for your estate. You can think about this as a comprehensive set of models, customization services, observability, and of
Yeah, I
course,
agree with
the
that
trust
too.
infrastructure underlying it to help you deliver these applications that we're talking
Like
about.
gamers need to
So
let go of
let's
that
take
relationship
each
with
component
execs.
in
So,
turn,
yeah.
starting with trust.
I think
How-
that it's proven this past generation that like really means nothing, you know, because what they tell the gamers is not really within their control of what ends up happening. Like you literally had like 1 month to the next Xbox saying one thing and then completely just backhand slap the community with a different model, you know. And that's business, you know what I mean? But it's weird to hear somebody say like, no, this isn't happening, and then like a month later being like, we're all in on this, we think this is the future, we think this is good for gamers. You know, it's just like two opposite ends of the spectrum. When you have the same person speaking, it comes across really bad, but that's their job, you know. And like that forward facing thing of having to always tell the gamers what's happening is can be a positive and can also be a detriment, because what you say is always going to be used against you, but also you still want to have communication with the gamers, right? So it's like, how do we instill confidence in them and restore faith in the brand and increase brand popularity by sending a clear message? But then also, how do we not shoot ourselves and step on rakes when we fail to deliver on the things that we said? So what I would say is less speaking and more action, right? Less speaking about the things that you're doing and more promoting the things that you're doing would be the best course of action. And you can still have engagement with the fans, but in more of a like less informational way, more so of a, you know, hey, this was awesome that this happened, or this was, you know, or whatever, you know.
How does Azure AI Foundry help me as a decision maker once I've found, or as a practitioner, once I've found the business case?
Yes.
How does Azure AI Foundry help with this trustworthy AI?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So one of the things we believe very strongly, as you know, is principles is not enough. You need to take principles and action and product capabilities and put that all together. And so this week we announced several new capabilities. So
So I like that. Of course, it doesn't have anything to do with gaming, but I like that statement. Principles alone aren't enough. You have to have principles followed by the action, right? So I like that. Hopefully, that's something that happens because the principles that she's placed down so far with her commitments are good, but you got to have the action. That's in her own words, right?
One is risk and safety evaluations for images. So in this multimodal world, we not only want to help you evaluate text-based queries, we want to help you evaluate image-based content too, input, output. The second thing that we announced is AI reports. So think about this as...
All right, so that's enough of that. But yeah, basically that's who she is. That's her speaking about AI. She'll be in a completely different role now. I'm sure AI will get brought up a lot in questions to her in the future regarding Xbox. But we'll see what her takes are on that then. And yeah. Again, guys, time will tell. It's not my favorite day for Xbox, but it's also not something that I can say one way or another, is gonna be good or bad. I think Phil Spencer's era was a net positive, even though a lot of people don't like where Xbox is now, and I think it's because of a lot of confusion about what the direction is, where they're headed, what are we doing, I think for the most part, it seems like people have moved on from necessarily caring about the whole multi-platform thing and just care about getting a great console that has great games. The other interesting thing was no mention about Game Pass in any of those statements. I don't know if that matters or not. I saw somebody point that out on Twitter. I don't think it's necessarily means anything. How much do they lean into that going forward or not is going to be interesting. I think that overall it's a very good component to the Xbox ecosystem. But yeah, like I'm just really curious, like what's this gonna be? And there's one other aspect that I haven't talked about yet, and this is something with the Phil Spencer era that he was out building relationships. All of his trips to Japan, all of his things trying to do to get developers on board with Xbox, reigniting the relationship with Square Enix. A lot of things that he had to do the groundwork on and make these developers understand that the Xbox platform is a place to put their games, partnership deals, all these other kind of things, right? And it's like her not being from the gaming space. She's going to have to, all of these people, all these companies, she's going to be new to every single head of every publishing company out there, like all the big wigs, like the Take-Twos, the Ubisoft, EA, even PlayStation and Nintendo now, like they don't have any experience with her. She has no relationships at all with any of those people in the gaming space. Matt Booty does. So it's good that somebody there was from within is still there that has those relationships, especially with him being the head of the games side. But Phil Spencer still, even when he was just a CEO of Microsoft Gaming, was still doing this stuff, So it's going to be interesting seeing how she takes on that role, coming in from outside of the gaming space into into really becoming the CEO of the biggest publisher in the world. When you include ABK, Bethesda, the traditional Xbox game studios, all of these things together, releasing on all of these platforms, their games are top 10, 15, several on Xbox and PlayStation, and also PC usually as well. So having those relationships with all of these other companies is going to be interesting, and to see how she develops that's going to be a key part of it. So, yeah, time will tell. Seems like she speaks clearly, believes in what she's saying, knows what she's talking about. That was an AI. We'll see how it translates to gaming, right? But yeah, will we see more Matt Booty? That's the other thing. Will we see more Matt Booty? Will he be out there forward facing more? Because he's the games guy, you know? Yeah, Jason Ronald, will we see him more talking about the tech stuff? What was her job before? So she's like got an interesting background because she comes from multiple things, like backgrounds, like Home Depot. She's like on the board for Home Depot. She was like in charge at a CEO of Instacart. She does something with some like overseas like company that's like Amazon, but it's not Amazon, it's something else. She's like on the board or something there too. Uh yeah, like multiple different things. So, and she worked traditionally right now she's coming from the head of Cloud AI, or is that what it was? Or Core AI at Microsoft. So she's transitioning from within, from the AI side. I would say that she would probably consider this an upgrade as being ahead of the whole division, like that big of a division, you know, instead of a part of a division. Because the AI thing, there's got so many different AI shits going on. Like it's hard to even keep track of all the AI stuff that they have going on at Microsoft. Like, but yeah, she was president of Microsoft Core AI, Poison Maniac says, and yeah, now she's the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Zodgut says no experience in the gaming business, a bit worrying. I would say that can be a concern. It could also be um, potentially a good thing, depending on how you look at it. Sometimes people come from the outside and they bring in fresh ideas and fresh thinking, and can shake things up into new ways, and don't deal with all the BS, that don't want to deal with all the issues that's going on now. So they look to how to solve the problems, right? And coming from, sometimes we get like, hey, this is just the way things are in this business. So people that come from within sometimes are like, well, this is the way it is, you know, so I'm going to operate within that box, right? Sometimes people can come from outside of a business and go into another business and be like, I don't like this about this. This isn't right, and I want to change it, you know? And it depends. Like, sometimes they don't do that. Like, I don't know, man. I would say that taking over any task from something you don't really have as much experience with is going to be a challenge. But the right person can do it. And certain people can do any job like this that they're put in, because they are just smart enough to see things, and they have the motivation and drive. And so is she the right person? Well, time will tell. There's been plenty of executives that are from outside that have done great things. Like, I remember, wasn't Peter Moore a shoe guy at one point? Yeah, or didn't he like work at like fuck it, he didn't work at, I forget where Peter Moore worked, but he like sold shoes or some shit, or he was like a head of a shoe company or something, or a sporting goods company, and he left that and went and did gaming. You know, like sometimes it just comes from this drive that they have, you know, and it's not necessarily about what their background is. Does it feel warm and fuzzy if it's like, oh yeah, this person's been in the gaming business their whole life, you know what I mean? You know, but like this is not necessarily always a good thing. Yeah, he also worked at Sega. Yeah, but he also worked at a shoe company, our sporting goods company. Man, what was Peter Moore doing back then? He went from before Sega. Peter Moore work background. It's stupid. I'm even looking this up. Yeah, Reebok. Yeah, he's known for he was senior vice president of global sports marketing at Reebok, and then he left there to do president of Sega. Yeah, thanks, Nate Dogg. So then he did such a good job at Sega, then he became the Microsoft, Xbox and the 360. Yeah, so when he went to Xbox, yeah, he had background in gaming, but like when he left Reebok and took over Sega, I mean, you're talking about a great era, So, well, maybe not because they had the Dreamcast, I think, at that time, and it flopped. But I loved the Dreamcast. I think we all did. Anyway, he invented the pumps. Nice. Well, everybody, like I said, up in the air right now. 52% has it they are not optimistic. But yeah, you're right, Fuzzy. He did a good job at Xbox. He did a good job at Xbox. I correct myself on that. But I loved the Dreamcast and I loved the games. So, but yeah, guys, thank you all for joining tonight. This was a fun stream. I didn't mean to. I just meant to unpin that. Fun stream, I guess. But we'll have more. We'll keep our ears tuned and we'll see what the future is. But yeah, massive changes. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy this ride. Should be interesting. Peace.